Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Dan Fates here, breaking down the Bills' newest free agent signing. I gotta say, I really like it. Before we get into talking about Poona Ford, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe here to the channel. We really appreciate it. All right, so the Bills wrapped up their draft weekend, and now begins that second wave of free agent signings. And I gotta say, I really like the move that Brandon Beane made here on Tuesday, signing defensive tackle Poona Ford. Okay, before we get into it, I was stunned that the Bills weren't able to draft a defensive tackle. I thought they needed to improve their defensive line. So far, it has been pretty much team run it back with bringing back Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson and some of those guys up front, not really making any big moves. And they did have a problem. The Bills' defensive line did have an issue, and that was stopping the run. More specifically, stopping the interior run. That was the problem. The solution, Poona Ford. He was a 4-year starter for the Seattle Seahawks. And honestly, you'll look into some of his stuff and you'll say, wow, like he really wasn't that great in 2022. Don't pay any attention to that. The Seattle Seahawks changed up some of their defense. And again, I'm not going to sit here on this video and tell you the massive difference between a nose tackle and all these things. And that's not what I'm here to say. I'm not going to break any of that stuff down, not Mr. All 22. What I will say is that Poona Ford greatly improves the Bills' interior run defense. He absolutely does. 5'11", 310 pounds, laterally quick. McDermott's always talking about gap integrity and keeping into your gaps. That's how you stop the run. Poona Ford can just take up gaps just by standing there. He is that type of guy. Undrafted out of Texas, still just 27 years old. It's only a 1-year deal. So while I'm somewhat surprised that the Bills still do not have a defensive tackle under contract after this season, this is a massive upgrade. A lot of people had Poona Ford as the highest or one of the top 10 best free agents still available in the market. So for Beane to go out and make this move, we still know the terms of the contract, but I love it. Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network is reporting that he turned down more money elsewhere because he wanted a chance to win a Super Bowl here with the Bills. 1-year deal. He's, again, just 27 years old. Obviously, he's still on the market at this point. Obviously, we saw Latavius Murray signing. A lot of these veterans get re-signed or signed with teams after a team maybe kicks the tires on them, checks them out, and then says, well, we'll see what we have in the draft and what we come out with. So not surprising to see Brandon Beane making moves. This was one of the ones I think he talked about after the draft, saying we have talked to a couple veterans on the defensive line. Again, really like this move. And the big stat that I really like about it the most came from Warren Sharp. Really smart guy, friend of the channel, has been on before. We're going to get him back on. Here's the stat for it. I want to bring up the tweet here so you get it right. The Bills allowed just 3.4 yards per carries when running backs ran behind the tackle or around the end. That's pretty good. But when the running backs attacked the middle of the defensive line, that's the interior, Buffalo's run defense ranked 31st in yards per carry, 32nd in the league in percent of runs that gained 10 plus yards, and 26th in percentage of runs that gained 5 plus yards. Poona Ford will dramatically increase all of those stats. Again, I'm not going to sit here and break down the difference between techniques, but there was a problem that the Bills had in the interior line of the defense. Now, like I said, you talk about Jordan Phillips, much more of a pass rushing threat. Poona Ford can get after the quarterback. I think he had 3 sacks last year, but they moved him around. They didn't use him correctly. This is a guy that PFF has graded normally 80, 83, 90, like high grades for PFF. Take with it what you will, but this is a guy that I think dramatically improves this Bills defense. I thought the best signing of the Bills free agency was Jordan Poyer, obviously, but bringing in a new addition, I think this is better than Deontay Hardy. I think this is better than Sherfield. I think this is the best free agent move that Brandon Beane has brought in free agency. Love this move. For a long time, I thought the defense kind of was going neglected, which I was fine with because I wanted to improve Josh Allen and his quality of life and his play. But this is a massive move to shore up that interior defensive line. Rotate him alongside with Daquan Jones, who was injured at the end of last year. They really struggled. Tim Settle, I don't think, really hit his stride for as much as the expectations were. And Jordan Phillips, again, played well, but another guy that's injured. We all know Ed Oliver, but this is another piece of an interior guy that has versatility, can move around, laterally quick. I just really like the signing. Again, this is a guy that's 27 years old. I'll say it again. Greatly improves their interior run defense, and he's betting on himself. So I don't know how long Ford will stay around in Buffalo. This may be a one-year thing, but when you got a guy that wants to win a championship, is going to bet on himself, usually a lot of those guys really pan out. So I absolutely love this move. I think Brandon Beane hit this one out of the park to bring in Poona Ford, a guy that fits the process in the term of undrafted guy out of Texas, has been a 4-year starter with Seattle. Pretty much it just didn't work out there in Seattle. Pete Carroll talked about how he overused them out of position. So if you see some of the stuff of where he didn't excel last year, don't freak out about it. This is a guy that is an absolute stud his first 3 years in the league. Again, undrafted out of Texas. A++ move by Brandon Beane. I know some people joke around about here about how I'm Dan the Downer. I absolutely love this move. I think this is the biggest move of the Bills free agency this offseason. And I loved the Damian Harris signing, but I love this one even more. Poona Williams, big guy. The battle will be who gets number 97. Jordan Phillips has had it. Poona Williams has worn it as well for Seattle. Love this move. Love Poona. We'll get to know more about him as training camp comes in. But again, there are signings that happen and people ask you, only thing to do, and you don't want to be rude and say, well, they may not make the roster. Like there are things as camp bodies as maybe insensitive as that sounds, but this is a move I think that immediately impacts the Bills defense and shores up their defensive line. It is a both literal and figurative massive signing for the Bills. Poona Williams to the Bills. Plenty more coverage. Again, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We are approaching, I think, almost 23,000. Or keep it going up. Keep it going up. We really appreciate it. Tons more coverage. Again, we'll break it all down. Any of the draft stuff that you missed, be sure to check that out. And more coverage, as always, coming up. So again, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We appreciate you tuning in here to the channel. For Dan Fates, we'll catch you here next time on Buffalo Plus's YouTube channel.